Eddsworld is an animated comedy created by Ed Gold in 2004. It has an exciting cast of characters such as Guy in green sweatshirt, Guy in blue sweatshirt, Guy in purple sweatshirt, and Guy in red sweatshirt. So many sweatshirts. So the Sweatshirt Brothers go on crazy adventures in their neighborhood and get themselves into pretty unlikely situations, and that's pretty much the show. Personally, I don't have much connection with it, since I only saw about 5 or 10 episodes when I was young, and didn't come back to it for a long time. But from what I have seen, I can confidently say that these episodes, or Eddisodes, as some people call them, are fairly decent. They can be funny and clever in lots of places, and it's obvious why this series became so popular. Now, of course, this animated series has been going on for quite a long time, so obviously it has accumulated quite a fandom. And with all fandoms comes the unpredictable byproducts of its community. And these byproducts often take the form of fan art, which usually collects in large sums on Deviantart. So then, let's see what it has in store for us today. So to begin, we have Yaoi Eddsworld, and this really isn't that surprising to me. With a show made up of almost exclusively male characters, this is bound to happen. For the drawing itself, it actually is pretty decent. It's got a good sense of anatomy and movement, but the only thing that really distracts me is the way they shine their hair. I mean, it looks like someone is shining a flashlight straight across their heads. And I think it looks this way because the shine doesn't actually follow the shape of the hair very well, and it's simply too intense compared to the rest of the shading. Here's another shipping art, and this one I actually kind of like. The more somber expressions and calmer atmosphere is actually sort of a fresh breath of air when it comes to these shipping pieces. And yes, you guessed it, they also have a group for Eddsworld shipping. Now, when I first saw the name of this group, I was a bit confused because I thought it said, "Ew, yaoi," like they were disgusted by the thought of yaoi. But that didn't make sense because almost all of their gallery was gay shipping art. But then I realized it was Eddsworld yaoi. Also, Eddsworld Yaoi United sounds like some sort of country. Fun fact, North Korea actually has 2 allies, China and the United States of Eddsworld yaoi. So here we have this piece, and it certainly is eye-catching. It could use some color and have heads that aren't made to look like Pac-Man, but as far as MS Paint doodles go, this actually does have a better sense of body shape than most. But I would like to note that their tongues are literally tied together. That's some serious detail right there. Now, this is one of those build a character programs that someone took a screenshot of, I believe. I might be wrong, I see these all over DeviantArt, but I don't know what it is for sure. But even so, I don't think they did a very good job. I mean, they all have surprisingly large hips for males, and they all have pretty much the same annoying anime facial structure with barely any distinction between them. Also, I just love how the last one is just casually standing there with a gun in their mouth. They don't even give a damn, they just want to end their life as quickly as possible, even if it's in front of all their friends. So here is an Eddsworld fanfiction titled, "Cuddling is Warm. So is Something Else." Well, you have already thoroughly disturbed me, simply by the title. Congratulations. Your eyes slowly open. It takes a few minutes to register the warm arms around you. You also notice that your bladder was really full. However, when you move to get up, your captor pulls you closer. You whimper, then turn to face him. "Good morning. Will you please let go?" you ask sweetly. "Good morning to you as well, love. Why do you want to be let go of? You're so warm and cute, and I'm comfy," he whispered, after kissing you softly on the lips. You didn't want to admit that the reason you wanted to ruin the moment was because you needed to relieve yourself. So instead, you came up with a lie. "I wanted to make a cup of tea." You couldn't help but wince at the thought of liquid. You see, I really connect with this character, because right now I'm wincing at everything. "Well, in that case, no, I will not let you go," he told you. Then he kissed you again, a little more forcefully. Heh this is getting into a little bit of a rapey territory right now. You just smile and roll over, but then you feel his hands traveling across your stomach, and you can't help but giggle, and you know what's coming. He pulls you on top of him. Starts ticking you, starting from your neck and traveling down your back to your armpits, to your ribs, and finally your stomach. You were trying not to laugh because you still have to pee, really badly, and you didn't want to pee on him. But once he hit your stomach, you couldn't help it anymore. But as he trailed his fingers over your belly button, your sweet spot, your hands shot to your... Okay, nope. No, I'm done. Sorry. I tried. I really tried to get through this, but no thank you. I'm moving on. So, this is a fusion, I believe, between Papyrus from Undertale, Mangle from Five Nights at Freddy's, and Tom from Eddsworld. Needless to say, this is certainly an odd combination of unrelated characters, but for the actual quality of the drawing, it's actually pretty decent. The way they colored in the character is unique, and it does have a reasonable design. Now, this piece is simply incredible, and what makes it incredible is something that I don't see a lot of people do that much on Deviantart, and that is pay attention to colors. Now, of course, this person's use of colors is exceptional, and that's because not only did they use interesting and dynamic colors, but also because they used those colors to convey lighting and shading in a skillful way to create a very eye-catching piece. You know, after looking at some actually decent art, I sometimes forget what really bad art looks like. And then I see things like this, and I remember. And now I want to forget again. This piece is simply called Tord Has a Gun, but to me it looks more like Tord Has the State of Idaho. Overall, this artwork is pretty horrendous, and I don't think this person even bothered to make it look appealing. I mean, the hair has a bunch of white pixels bordering where the line work is, and even with the most minimal art knowledge, you should be able to take a brown brush across that area and fill it in. I can only assume this is simply because of laziness, and I don't even know what was going on in this person's head when they were drawing the face. I can only guess that they took a picture of the nearest meth addict and used their face as a reference. Here's some portraits of the Eddsworld characters, and while the body shape and hair is well done, the one thing that throws me off is the eyes. Now, I know that they are trying to convey a feeling of cuteness to the characters, but I feel like the eyes have something about them that just make them look a bit uncanny. I think the reason for this is because all of their expressions are the same, and because their eyes seem to lack any pupils, and instead of looking like human eyes, they sort of look like gemstones. Now, this piece is one of my favorites. The main reason for this is because throughout this episode, the good art I have reviewed has sort of lacked in interesting styles. They have either been carbon copies of the show style, or just more realistic. But this one is a little bit in between. I like the extra detail and the smoother shape of the body and face. The expression and anatomy is really well done, and the line work, while not the cleanest, is still very impressive. This really is one of the best Eddsworld character sketches I have seen so far. And here's the obligatory pony version of Ed. But what I like about this one is that it actually has a unique design and a lot of detail put into it. In most cases, when people make pony versions of things, they just take a base of a pony and throw some accessories on it that loosely represent the character. But in this drawing, they actually took the time to make it look like it could actually be a reincarnated version of Ed as a pony, which is pretty interesting. Now, this wouldn't be a complete Eddsworld browsing DeviantArt episode without at least mentioning the plentiful supply of comics that are made on the official Eddsworld DeviantArt account. Now, I have looked through a lot of these comics, and I have to say they are really fun. They all have a reasonable cartoon style and a fair amount of quality. I really do appreciate that these comics stay true to the characters and aren't just filled with a bunch of lame puns. They can be really clever and entertaining. This is really the kind of stuff I appreciate when it comes to ongoing series, and it's obvious why Eddsworld has such a large following. Anyway, my name is Solar Sans, this has been Browsing DeviantArt, and goodbye.